Welcome, my constant reader friends. I'm Tad, and this is Tad Reads Books and Stuff. All right, first off, pay no attention to the huge Band-Aid on my lip. You know, I've probably been shaving for the vast majority of my life. I shaved my head. Been shaving my head for 15 years. Been shaving my face for about 40 years or so, and I still am not a professional. I still don't know what I'm doing, and I cut the hell out of my lip. So, to not expose you to the gore of my face, I put a Band-Aid on it, and it's the biggest, it's way bigger than it needs to be, really. It's all I had, so please pay no attention. All right, got that out of the way. All right, first let's do a little update on my readings so far through February. As you know, I'm doing my Stephen King short story compilation project read-through. And we're now on different seasons. I have finished the first 2 of the 4 stories in here. So I finished... Of course, At Pupil probably could be just a book. At Pupil is pretty big. Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption was the first one. Then At Pupil. I finished At Pupil, and now we're starting The Body. So, and I'm just a little behind on my reading this month, February. I'm just... I don't know, having some problems at work. I got to do jury duty later next week. Who knows what that's going to do. But anyways, I'm about halfway through the book. So we're continuing that this month, of course. I have started Tiamat's Wrath, book 8 in The Expanse. I'm not very far. Where am I at here? 42 pages. A couple chapters. Just started reading that. Just started reading book 2 of Saga. Man, I've never been so excited. I can't remember the last time I was so excited about reading a comic book series. This is just really good. I'm really, really digging it. As you know, I'm doing this as a read-along with Graz on the GKBC. So I've started reading this. Unfortunately, guys, I have not gotten to this at all. I don't know if I'm going to get to it. I may have to push it to next month. Sorry. I know I said I was going to, it was my TBR, but may not get to it. So, but I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so that's my progress report so far. And now we're finally going to do my thoughts on Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Yes, I did finish this in January, and I'm finally getting around to talking about it. Good thing, because I haven't finished any of my other reading for February yet. All right, so, Crooked Kingdom. Let's do the numbers. Of course, this is by Leigh Bardugo. This book was originally published in September of 2016. My version has 536 pages. There is a character, a part in the back that gives a list of characters, which is kind of cool. I appreciate that. And on Goodreads, it currently has a 4.61 rating, which is pretty darn good. And spoiler alert, I gave it a 5. I don't know. I loved it. I don't know. I don't know what happened to me. I'm really starting to read more YA books and kind of enjoying them. Now, as you know, this is the second book in the duology. The first book being Six of Crows. I'm going to run down real quick. If you don't know anything about this world, it's called the Grishaverse. So the Grishaverse of novels first started with a trilogy. Shadow and Bone was the first book. Siege and Storm is the second book. And Ruin and Rising is the third book. That takes place in a different part of this world that this takes place in, called Ravka. But this one takes place in Ketterdam. So it's a different area of the world. Still the same world, of course. And this takes place 2 years after the Shadow and Bone trilogy, the first trilogy. Now, I've never read the first trilogy. I have not heard a lot of good about it from adult readers like myself. It's too YA. It's got the love triangles and things like that going on. So I've heard some weaker reviews of that trilogy. I did not start with that trilogy. You don't have to start with that trilogy. You can go right into this duology. And so that's what I did, because I heard some great things about Six of Crows. Now, there's also another trilogy there's also another duology after this duology, and that has King of Scars and Rule of Wolves. That duology takes place a year after the closing events of Crooked Kingdom, and goes back to Ravka. Again, have not read that. Have not read anything really about it. Don't know that I intend to read more about it. But Leigh Bardugo, man, has really established this world, this Grisha-verse, and people love it. There's picture books, there's a graphic novel, there's a book of like fairy tales of this world. So it's really kind of getting pretty extensive. I mean, she's gone on now to do some more adult books, but yeah, I loved it. My thing is story. You know, if it's a good story, it's a good story. So what are we doing here? So we're back with Kaz Brecker, and he's the leader of the Crows, or also known as the Dregs, as in the dregs of society. These are the losers, the throwaways, that he's gathered together, this little group of people, and they are kind of just trying to make it through their lives in this really rough world. This world is populated with the Grisha. 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 They're magical. But they're really cool because they can do different types of magic. Some people can do wind magic. Some people can do earth magic. Some people can do metal magic. Some people can take over your body motions. Just different things. But what had happened was somebody invented a drug. It's called Jurda Param, and it enhances your magical abilities if you're a Grisha. The problem is it's highly addictive, and it destroys you. It makes you go crazy and eventually kills you, and you become very dangerous. But your Grisha powers are amazing. And of course, you know, there's reasons people want that, for military superiority or nefarious reasons, of course. But it's very addictive, and it just kills you. So very bad. There is one really rich guy, and in the Six of Crows, he hires the Dregs, Kaz and his crew, to it's really kind of a heist book. They are going to go to a prison island and in a cold area called the Fjordans, to try to break free the son of the man who invented the Jurda Param, who has died. They're hoping that the son who worked with his father to invent this drug can, you know, they can get him, and somebody can get him and make him make more of this drug so that they can have some type of superiority over others. He was in prison. So that was the first book, Six of Crows. Really good. I really liked it. It was supposed to be impossible for them to, infiltrate this prison island, this frozen prison island, and break this guy out. And they do it. So that's Six of Crows. The problem was the man who hired them to do this reneged. It was like a double cross. He didn't pay them. And now they're pissed. So this is a revenge novel. They're going to, seek revenge on this guy for not doing what he promised to do, putting their lives at risk and all this. And so that's what we're doing here. But we learn, of course, a lot more about the world. We learn a lot more about Ketterdam, the town or country that they're in. And of course, we learn a lot more about the dregs, the individual characters that are part of this group. And that's where the book, I think, really shines, is just getting to learn them more. Now, it is a revenge book, but it does start, I feel like, getting more into the love stories. There is a love element to this storyline, and it involves, of course, the members of the dregs. First, we'll start with Kaz. Kaz Brecker is the leader of this group. I'm not going to go too much into a backstory of him, but he's dark, brooding, morally dark, more morally dark than maybe the others in the group, which is interesting. But overall, he's brilliant. Now, he's a kid, so you have to suspend some of your beliefs, because he's a 17, 18-year-old kid who is more brilliant than apparently anybody else, any adults or anything like that. But it's a YA book. Okay, so get that out of the way. So that's cool. He's the leader, and he is in love with Inej. Now, Inej is the spider. Inej is a very slight young woman who was brought up as an acrobat in like a circus. And she is like a cat burglar. She runs the roofs of the city. And she's kind of like a lookout for Kaz. She's kind of like an undercover spy for Kaz, because she can run along, crazy heights and places and spy on people for him to get him information to do his crazy brilliant schemes. He is in love with her, but Kaz has a lot of PTSD from when he was younger. He wears gloves because he can't touch things. He's got some issues, but he loves Inej, and she really loves him too. All right, but she's damaged. They're all damaged. Inej is great. She gets kidnapped. I'm not going to give it all away. Next, we've got Jesper. Jesper's cool. Jesper is very flawed as well. And he actually is Grisha. He has some magical abilities that we learn about and we find out more about. Now, Jesper has a troubled relationship with his father, which you'll see that theme repeated throughout some of the other characters because they're younger kids. And he's interesting. He's the shooter, the sharpshooter of the group. But he's got a lot of issues too. He's got a gambling issue and, of course, some parental issues. But so there's Jasper, and then of course, going down the line, we've got Wylan. Wylan is actually the son of one of the main villains. Well, the gentleman who reneged on his deal with them in Six of Crows, and they're going to exact their revenge from. He really has problems with Wyland because he has issues. He's kind of dyslexic. He can't read. But he's the, what would you call him? He's the demolition expert of the group. So you can see everybody has their place in the group. But Wyland is in love with Jesper. So that causes some issues, but it's cool. No problem. Next, we have Nina. Nina is this big, beautiful Grisha. She's full Grisha. Now, Jesper, he's been like subduing his magic ability since he was a little kid because, of course, once you're a Grisha, you can be constricted to do certain things, and so he's been hiding this fact for his whole life. Nina is a Grisha. Everybody knows. She is big, strong, beautiful, more mature sometimes, I think, than some of the other characters. She has cool magical abilities that have changed because she was given the Jurda Param. And now she is dealing with it. She's trying to kick this. She's stopped taking it, but it has really messed her up. It has changed, altered her magical abilities, and now she's an addict, really. She has to fight these inner demons just to try to stay away from it and to learn how to deal with now being an addict. It's really serious. That's a cool storyline. She is in love with Matthias. I don't know how to say his name. Matthias, maybe. Yeah, she's in love with Matthias, which is a really unique situation there because Matthias is a Fjordan. So they're kind of like living in the North Country, snow and ice and stuff like that, but they're very feudal. They're very war-based. They're kind of Viking-ish, okay? They don't show emotions and love. They're just warriors, and he's been trained his whole life to be a warrior and really to be prejudiced. Super prejudiced against anybody else that isn't a Fjordan. Especially the Grisha. They hate Grisha. They kill them. They think they're like, witches, and they hunt them down. But he falls in love with a Grisha, Nina. It's cool to watch his development as a character as he learns through his love for Nina and really this camaraderie that he's become involved with the crows, with the dregs, with Kaz and everybody. He's learning to relax, to love, to help others, to not be prejudiced against others because of their skin color or race or magical abilities. So that relationship is actually pretty cool as well. I loved it. Again, story. I'm trying not to give a lot away of the story. I will. The only real complaint that I have from it is, for some reason, it took me a hell of a long time to read. It was a kind of a slow read. 536 pages, but it wasn't a slow read because it was boring or even because the action in the book was that slow. I don't know why it took me so long to read it or why it took me so long to do this review, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love this duology. They've done a TV series. There's only one season out. And it's kind of cool. What they did was they took the first trilogy, the Shadow and Bone trilogy, and this duology, the Six of Crows duology, and they blended it together. So they moved the time periods together. There's some interaction actually from the characters from the original trilogy and this duology into that series, and I liked it. I thought it was pretty darn good. I'm waiting for season 2 if that ever comes out. But yeah, huge world. Really kudos to Leigh Bardugo for making an old guy like me like a YA duology like this. It really was good. If you have read the prior trilogy or even the duology afterwards, and you think it's something that I would enjoy, something that I should read if I enjoyed this duology so much, please let me know in the comments. I really love the comments. As you know, if you found any entertaining value in this video, aside from my huge band-aid on my face, please like and subscribe. Again, leave comments. You know I love them. So until next time, peace out.